Hi everybody. So I thought I was done ranting and raving, but apparently I'm not. I forgot a couple things that I really wanted to talk about in my series on ehlers-danlos syndrome, that I just kind of like totally kind of forgot to mention while I was doing it. So there's a few things I'm going to bring up now just because I think they're really interesting, and they're also good indicators that you might have underlying health issues, and so I kind of wanted to bring them up. Also, sorry I look like a total hot mess today. I've been homesick for 2 days. My guts have given me so much trouble over the past week. So I just kind of look like roadkill, and I'm really sorry, but I mean, what the hell can you do? So, the things I wanted to bring up were POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, that's why we abbreviate it, dysautonomia, and what little I know about that, and also just a couple things that I've seen in other people with EDS that made me go, oh my god, like somebody gets it. Also, and I want to talk a little bit about anxiety and its correlation with dysautonomia and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So, first thing is POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. It's extremely hard to say. Basically, if you stand up too quick, you get super freaking dizzy and could possibly tip over. What it has to do with tachycardia is like when your heart beats way too fast and it just rushes blood through your body and your body goes, ah, and then you just kind of, so I don't really know how to explain it in like medical terms. I only know how to explain it in Chris terms. So a lot of the times I have apparently an ear potato, and you're gonna get to watch me pick it because, you know, whatever. So a lot of the times, and this has like happened my whole life, and I know it happens to my mother, it happened to my grandmother, and seeing as this is an inherited condition, I'm positive, almost positive, that my mother and my grandmother also have had this condition. So with POTS, you stand up and you get super dizzy because your heart goes haywire from the change in your position, and it rushes blood through your body. So you have to be kind of careful, like switching positions and leaping up off of the couch or anywhere. And I'm a super hyper person, so I should know better by now. It's something that I've kind of always dealt with and just kind of blow off and don't think about because I'm dizzy 90% of the time anyway. I can't flip and see, so like you're dizzy all the time anyway. But it's just one of those weird little tells that if you get abnormally dizzy just trying to go from a sitting to a standing position or a laying to a sitting to a standing position, that could imply that you have this postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, and that it might have an underlying issue. And this is something that would happen to you all the time, not just like a one-off, you know, every now and then if you haven't eaten in a while or your blood sugar drops or whatever. This is something that you'd be dealing with constantly. The dysautonomia thing, again, a lot of big words, a lot of sciencey stuff, and I'm not necessarily the best at explaining things. Basically, your nervous system also doesn't want to completely do its job. So POTS is part of dysautonomia. People who deal with gastroparesis, it's part of dysautonomia. Basically, it's between your brain and your nerve endings, something's going wrong, and you're not transmitting signals along your neural pathways the way you should, or not strong enough. Again, I wish I was better at explaining things, but that's about as short as I can explain it, I guess. So all these little systems in your body that are reliant on your nervous system to tell them what to do and when, it's kind of a crapshoot whether things are going to go right or not. And a big thing about dysautonomia that I deal with is the POTS thing isn't that bad for me, but the severe muscle spasms that I get. There's a couple people I've talked to that have EDS that when they go to lay down, when they try to relax at the end of the day, their body goes completely haywire. And that happens to me very, very frequently, almost every day. For the first half hour, I'm laying down in bed. My poor husband has to kind of watch me flop like a fish, and I feel really bad about it. He's good about it, but especially, like, all of my muscles will just suddenly lose their mind. Like, it's like Jimmy legs, but your entire body. Sometimes I will just start shaking from head to toe, and the muscles in my lower back and around my pelvis region are generally the worst. Like, I will look like some girl in a movie about exorcism. Like, I will just arch and twist and shake all over the place until my muscles have finally accepted that we're laying down now and we should probably chill the hell out so we can get some rest. Again, that's not something that I've seen a whole ton of people that I've talked to with EDS dealing with. But definitely for me, with like all the muscle nuts, and also me trying to always work physical when it's probably not the best idea for my poor stupid body, my muscles go completely haywire at the end of the night, and that's honestly pretty frustrating too, but it is what it is. Moving on from that, I watched a video the other day, and I've done a little research into dysautonomia and anxiety and the connection between having a mental disorder and having ehlers-danlos syndrome or any other kind of total body affecting condition. I know in the video it explained a lot about how part of your brain called the amygdala, I can see the word in front of me, but I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right. That part of the brain, that particular thing, is responsible for your fight or flight instinct. And for people in the studies that I've read and the videos I've watched, people in the studies that have bad anxiety and also had ehlers-danlos or a similar condition, that fight or flight was extremely overactive, and it has to do with the dysautonomia and your neural pathways not being the way they should be. That people who deal with dysautonomia and also honestly just being in constant pain can give you really bad anxiety and depression, just because who wants to be in pain all the time? I can't talk. That fight or flight, however you want to say it. I'm a fainting goat. I get scared, I just tip over. There's no fight or flight. I just die. But that basically, that response that pumps adrenaline through your body, that's going all the time in people with EDS or any other kind of condition like that. Again, this is just some studies that have been done. There isn't a lot of studies or information about this yet, but it is kind of an interesting pathway, I guess, that the people researching it are trying to follow and try to come up with a reason. Mainly because a lot of the time when you have a chronic health issue, the doctors are going to want to blame it on anxiety. Again, look for horses, not zebras. You hear hoofbeats, look for horses, not zebras. If someone's body's going haywire, they're going to try to tell you that it's all in your head, as opposed to treating the anxiety as a symptom. They're going to treat it as the root cause, and that doesn't do anyone any favors. So I'm going to keep looking up articles and keep looking up research on that, because I think that's absolutely fascinating. I have extremely, extremely high anxiety. I also have obsessive compulsive disorder and major depression. So it would be really interesting to find out, more studies, read more studies about that, because I'd love to be able to present that to my doctor and be like, look, I'm aware that I have anxiety. However, according to this research, it is a symptom of my condition, not the cause of my condition. So I think that's very cool. The last things I wanted to bring up were just silly little things that watching other people's videos and talking to people with EDS have kind of popped up, and I just think they're really funny. One of the biggest thing, I'll just start with the biggest thing, is these eye bags, man. Tilting forward and getting shadows in there, it makes it look worse. If I look up, obviously it doesn't look so bad. But even straight on, I have always had giant purple double eye bags, all my life. Even as a little kid, the amount of freaking people who would talk to me or talk to my mom about oh my god, why are her eyes so bruised? Oh my god, so frustrating. I don't know, I just look like this. I don't want to look like a corpse. A very freckly one. But I just do. A lot of people I've seen their videos and talked to with EDS also their entire lives have had these eye bags, and no matter what you do, they don't go away. Nobody really has a reason or an explanation as to why. It could be anything from the lack of muscle tension, with how stretching my face is, or the fact that, I'm in a lot of pain all the time, and most people with EDS are. And just that strain on your body gives you, that visual sign of something's wrong here. Somebody's video I was watching, they were talking about trying to keep their arm up in the air, raise it for class. Hey, look at my gross armpits. But like keeping your arm up in the air, raise for class, and having to do this and hold your arm up and then do this and then rest yourself on the desk, trying to keep your arm up in the air for more than a few seconds, you'd get completely exhausted. And nobody would really understand why and be like, what the hell's wrong with you? Which I thought was really funny because I used to do that all the time. The big obvious thing about being in phys ed, like, I fucking hated phys ed. Obviously a lot of nerdy people do, but like, holy shit, I would get so exhausted so easily, and I always blamed myself for it. Like, up until recently, I have always blamed myself for how fucking tired I am all the time. Like, I must be doing something wrong. I'm not treating myself, like, I'm not eating right. I need to take different supplements. Like, I always blamed myself for always being exhausted and always having like brain fog and stuff. And I guess I'm not alone. Like, even going through school, just like being so constantly tired and constantly dragging and not wanting to do physical activity because it was just so uncomfortable for me. And I always just blame myself. Now that I know better, now that I'm learning more about this condition, I really wish I had known back then, and I could have said, hey, wait a second, this sucks for me, and I actually have a reason for why it sucks for me. I'm not just lazy. I guess that's the biggest thing for me, is that I just constantly felt lazy, and I'm not. I'm a hard worker, like, and it's not that I don't want to be physical. I just guess I never realized how fucking tired I have been my entire life, between the insomnia and between my body being defective. And it's just a big relief to know that, you know what, it's okay to sit down if you're tired. Like, I always have pushed myself far beyond any reasonable limit of how I feel. Like, people see me out and running around and like doing things and always on the go and run. Like, I really hope, and this isn't like feel bad for me, I'm just being honest. Like, I really hope you know how much that costs me. Like, how much that physically and mentally costs me to always run at that pace. Because I just flat out refuse to let some silly birth defect fuck over my life. But it really costs me, you know, it really does. And I'm always going to try to push myself as much as I can, but if I've learned anything recently, it's the fact that it's okay to sit down when you're tired. It's okay to say, I can't do that right now because it hurts me. It doesn't mean I'm lazy. It means that I technically have a disability and I can't do as much as I should be able to. So I just wanted to kind of get that off my chest, because it's just shitty to always feel like you're not good enough or you're not worth enough because you can't push yourself as much as other people can. So that's that. I guess that's kind of the end of this series for real now. I'm probably going to split this video into 2 videos just so it's uploading easier. And I think I'm going to do a series on mental health next, just because I really enjoy doing this. So I enjoy talking about it with other people, and I enjoy hearing people's feedback, because the only way we're going to learn how to take better care of ourselves is if we share our experiences and reach out to each other and tell each other that, hey, it's okay, I'm dealing with that too, and this is how I get through it. Maybe it's going to help you get through it. You know, I just think it's really powerful and important to always be open and honest. So that is that, and I will see you guys on the next series of videos.